Well, good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on where you're located. My name is Deborah Shemesh, and I am a stage 4 melanoma patient. And I have been symptom-free for about 12 years now. And only in the last year or so, I have presented with more symptoms, and I'm not sure what they are stemmed from. It's been a crazy 4 months. What can I tell you? I started having abdominal attacks that prevented me from participating in my life in the way that I would love to continue to participate, which is sharing yoga, teaching meditation, and overall just living a very simple and fulfilling life through expressionism of all forms, whether it's through fashion, art, cooking, creativity. But as a stage 4 cancer patient, I was prompted by my doctors to do some further tests, which would be, MRI scans, PET scans, colonoscopies, endoscopies, capsule endoscopies, urinalysis, you name it, I've had it. And all of the tests have come back to confirm that they see no visible signs of melanoma anywhere in the body. And so it was suggested by several of my local Sonoma County physicians to see someone at the melanoma center, a center where they see melanoma patients all day long, and perhaps they would be able to suggest some tests that perhaps our doctors overlooked or weren't thinking of at the time. So when I went to the melanoma center last week with my dear friend Esther, they had a panel discussion on my history. Now remember, I was diagnosed 31 years ago this Thanksgiving. I was 26 years old, and it began with a mole on my left forearm, which was black, and it used to bleed and itch and bother me. And during a gynecological visit, my gynecological doctor insisted that I have the mole removed at UCLA Melanoma Center under the regime of Dr. Donald Morton. And they removed the tumor on my left forearm and did a sentinel lymph node dissection of 11 lymph nodes, which all turned out to be negative. So I really, really thought I was cancer-free and would never have to really double check on follow through with melanoma. I did not know the severity. But I went ahead with my life as I was told to by Dr. Morton, and I secured a wonderful job at ABC Network and worked my way up into the movie department and did some floating, or I should say, floating would be traveling from one major primetime department, such as comedy development or miniseries, to movies for television. And I really enjoyed my 18-year tenure at ABC Entertainment. The people there were fabulous, and I had the opportunity to be exposed to some of the finest doctors in the world and some of the greatest people in the world. I was able to qualify for a protocol called interleukin-2 and gamma interferon at the City of Hope through one of my friends who was dear collaborator with the director of City of Hope. I also did qualify for a protocol at UCLA of BCG and melanoma antigens, but I went on that protocol in 1987 after the melanoma did return to my stomach and esophagus, unbeknownst to me. I went ahead with my life in 1980. I realized that the one thing that I really, really wanted to experience was motherhood. So without much consideration as to how my disease may affect my child, I selfishly, I guess, or unknowingly, ignorance is bliss, they say, I went ahead and married a wonderful man and had a beautiful baby boy in 1982. and everything seemed to be fine as I continued my job at ABC and was raising a child. At this time, the father of my child had decided that the marriage had been too much of a commitment for him, so he went on his way. Did continue to have visits with my son from time to time, but for the most part it was my son and myself and my extended family through ABC and in my neighborhood. So in 1987, it went to my stomach and esophagus. My son was 4. I went to UCLA, had melanoma antigens with BCG. In 1988, the melanoma spread to my left ovary and my left fallopian tube. Dr. Ronald Luchter at UCLA went ahead and took care of that. And then in 1988, I was at the City of Hope on the interleukin-2 with gamma interferon, which required a nice lengthy hospital stay, and then weekly visits of, I guess you would call them infusions of treated blood and chemicals, which was exhausting for me. And I did not finish the whole 9-week second portion of the phase 2 study because I felt that the treatment itself was just taxing my body too much, and the quality of my life was really just spiraling downward. So I stopped that protocol and continued working, and unfortunately the melanoma did come to manifest on my left femur. I had 3 tumors on my left femur which were radiated at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. And then in 1991, I guess, I started having grand mal seizure unbeknownst to me. I guess it was a result of what they call iatrogenic disease, or a disease that is caused by the combination of many medications that were given to me to treat me not only for pain but for the prevention of more metastases, of course. It somehow gained a foothold on the central nervous system and caused me to experience these grand mal seizures for about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, maybe even 9 years. It seems like I lost so much time. Anyway, continuing with seizures, I was cancer-free for a couple years, and then in 94, the melanoma went to my left hip and right hip and my sacrum, which were treated again with radiation, and this time the radiation was done over at UCSF Melanoma Center. I was in hospice for the second time by now, and very frightened, so I gave up all of my materialism and moved to San Francisco and stayed at my brother's house. My son joined me, and we relocated him into a nice Catholic school in California, Northern California, which was not probably the best choice for him, but you know, girl's got to do what she's got to do when you're faced with death and mortality. You do what you feel is best for you at the time, and there's no turning back. I have no regrets. But hospice really frustrated me because I wasn't dying at the rate that the doctors were all saying that I would be dead within 6 months. So, you know, here I am. It's like 14 years later, and I'm still alive. And only in the last year or so I'm presenting my doctors with new symptoms. So I have been symptom-free for over 10 years. I have been seizure-free for over 10 years. And I believe in part that the move to Sebastopol, California in 1997, when I was just overexhausted from living in the city of San Francisco and living in the confines of my brother's house, was more than I can handle for both myself and for my precious son. So I decided, oh, what the heck, I'll just find a small place in Sonoma County and start life all over and do the things I love to do, regardless of how much time I have left. And that's when I opened up nonprofit, of course, First Impressions, which is a series of workshops that helps enhance the quality of young people and explore their talents, develop their talents, and learn how to put their best selves forward. And it looks like this live streaming has stopped for a while. I don't know why that happened, but excuse me. So here I am from 1997 living in Sebastopol to what is this, 2011, almost 2012, and now presenting with very interesting symptoms that we can't really pinpoint. Now, I did go over to the UCLA archives, and they suggested that I visit UCSF since it was closest to Sebastopol, California. Last week I did see Lynn Spittler, and she and her wonderful staff had a panel meeting and discussed my lengthy history. And there could be a few things going on, which is why I'm streaming this video to anyone who may have some suggestions for me. But it appears that I could be experiencing what they call intersusception, which is where one part of the bowel aligns to the next part of the bowel, and it causes severe abdominal attacks. I mean, these attacks are so painful that I feel like I want to just stand in front of a fast-moving bus or train. But sure enough, after about 3 or 4 hours, the pain stops, and I'm back to my normal schedule of teaching yoga and having a good time and living my life to the fullest. So that was one thing that we want to explore and rule out. So that would be intersusception, and whether or not there would be melanoma in that part of the bowel that slides into the other part of the bowel is highly improbable, but that statistic is still like a bad dream that is following me around. And another thought was that perhaps after a lumbar puncture, they could rule out the fact that any melanoma has returned to the spinal fluid or the meninges in my body, due to the fact that I had a tumor, a melanoma tumor on my sacrum. This leads me to believe that perhaps there is melanoma in my spinal fluid, because I do present with almost daily lower back aches and pains, in addition to these horrible attacks that I have in the abdomen. But the pain does begin in the lower part of the back and radiates to the front of my left side of my body, and I just don't know what's happening. And again, it's the physical body that is distressed. The spiritual part of my body feels really fabulous and healthy. I would consider myself what Dr. Deepak Chopra would establish as a patient who has experienced quantum healing for no inexplainable reason. I have been cancer-free and again, off hospice 3 times now, and living just a fabulous and quality of life. But I am looking for resources and information. So if anybody who has had stage 4 melanoma and is alive like I am, 33.5 years since the diagnosis, please do feel free to contact me at www.DeborahShemesh.com, and or do a Google search and find other ways and alternative ways to reach me. You can always contact Chopra University, as I am a Chopra certified primordial sound meditation instructor, as well as a 7 spiritual laws of yoga instructor. I can be reached through my email at the Chopra Center, which is DeborahShemesh, S-H-E, M as in Mary, E-S-H, at choprateachers.com. Again, I'm looking for an answer to explain the kind of pain that I have been in. Again, it is acute attacks in the abdominal area with chronic lower back pain. And again, we're ruling out metastases to the meninges or spinal cord, as well as intersusception. and that's where I'm at. So, after capsule endoscopy, colonoscopy, endoscopy, PET scan, CAT scan, and urinology, blood test, I'm at a standstill and would appreciate any and all information that you could forward to me. God bless you all, and may everybody with melanoma have a quality of life and know that there is real, true happiness and healing even after the diagnosis. Unfortunately, it shouldn't have to take 31 years. So help me out if you can. And for all other cancer patients, remember, hope is the mainstay tool you should keep at your bedside at all times. Namaste, and have a great day.